Hi, welcome back to Colebrook Kitchen. Today we're going to do one of our favorite easy dishes, flatbread pizza. And I'd like to do a shout out to Claudia Osa Paradise, who has tastybits.com blog, which was the inspiration for this and has some terrific videos. Anyway, this is so easy that you can prepare it while you're preheating your oven. So preheat your oven to 375 and let's get started. First, we start with Trader Joe's lavash bread. And it's in a package, it's several pieces, I don't know how many. We usually keep a package of this in the freezer and then take them out as we need it, so it's always there when we want it. And we're using for this the Fox Run French fry pan, which works well for French fries and works well for this because the holes in the bottom help circulate the air. Now, one of our great new discoveries is this EVO olive oil or vinegar sprayer, and it works without having to pump. You just squeeze the trigger pretty firmly and you get a great spray that's about 1/4 of a teaspoon, so you don't have a whole lot of waste or a whole lot of fat in your diet. And then we like to take this silicone brush to move it around on the bread even a little bit more. You want a very thin layer because otherwise this could be soggy. And once you do it on one side, you flip it over, give it a couple more shots, and spread that around as well. Next, you take the Trader Joe pizza sauce, and this really isn't an ad for Trader Joe's, it just kind of sounds like it. And I use 2 pretty good size teaspoons full. Just put it out there, and then spread that around with the same silicone brush so that you get good coverage, but it's not too thick. The next step is to put the dried herbs on, and I usually use a mix of oregano, kosher salt, and red pepper flakes. And this all-purpose shaker is a great way of getting an even spread for your herbs or your rubs when you're barbecuing or grilling. It works really well for that. So you can't have pizza without cheese. Another Trader Joe's product, I do like it there, is their Quattro Formaggio, and it's made up of Parmesan, Asiago, Fontina, and Provolone, which is a really nice mix for this. And you just sprinkle that around your pizza. You don't want it to be too thick because you're working with a very thin crust, but you want good coverage. Next is the meat, and we like to use some salami. We just take some of the Columbus salami, and the easiest way to break that up we found is to use the cut in chunks scissors. These things come in so handy, and I usually like to do a couple of cuts this way and then cut it this way. So you've got basically little squares, and I usually take a couple of handfuls of this so that we get a nice amount of meat. Okay, and then you just spread that around so that you've got, again, you want to get some good coverage. Now, we like to add some olives to give it a little bit of a sort of an interesting flavor. These are pitted Kalamata olives, and I use the cut in chunks for this as well because it gives you some nice slices without having to get out another cutting board and a knife. It's just very easy. You don't need full coverage, you just want it sort of spaced around. So you've now got your olives spread around. By the way, you don't have to take notes. The recipe for this is at colebrookitchen.com. The next ingredient is one of my favorite discoveries. I love the tangy taste of goat cheese on pizza and on a number of other things, but sometimes it's just overpowering. So what we do is we take a log of fresh goat cheese and just keep it in the freezer and take this Kitchen IQ paddle grater and just grate this, and it's the best way to distribute just the right amount of goat cheese. So you've got the tang without being overwhelmed by it. Okay, and once you're done with that, just take a few leaves of fresh basil. Take your cut in chunks again. This thing is so handy. Just cut it around on your pizza. So you've got a little bit of basil. We'll take a little bit more. And it's ready to go in the oven. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. And there's the buzzer. I'll go get the pizza. And voila, it's beautiful. I use the Tavolo flexible mat under the French fry pan so that when I put oil on, it wouldn't go through onto the counter, and then it's there to use to cut the pizza. So let's cut this with the Joseph Scoot pizza cutter. It's our favorite pizza cutter. It works great because all of your energy is right where it needs to be, right on top of the blade. So we usually split this between us for lunch, but you could cut it into smaller pieces and use it as hors d'oeuvres. But let's see how this tastes. Crunchy, cheesy, tangy, tasty. It's delicious. Thank you for joining us at Colebrook Kitchen.